Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode. Today we have with us the owner of Birdies Lounge in Jamestown, Tennessee, Byron Matthews.
Hey, how's it going? Doing good?
So, Byron, go ahead and just kind of tell us a little background on you. If you're from Jamestown and graduated from York, and just tell us a little about yourself.
Yep. So, grew up here in Jamestown, and both sides of my family are from here. So, went to school here all the way from grade school all the way through high school, and then after high school, I went down to college in Chattanooga, down at UTC for a little while, and then I had a interesting opportunity to have a job in the Air Force. And so went and took the test out there for that, and just traveled around with the Air Force for 5 years, and lived in South Dakota, did a lot of training in Vegas or New Mexico, and flew drones for the Air Force out there for 5 years. And then after the drone stuff, Air Force stuff, came back and got into sales back around here in the area, and just got presented with the opportunity to open a business that we had planned for a long time. It's been in the works for years. So we came back after the military, got into sales, and then had an opportunity to own this business here and started this thing up, Birdies Lounge. So we're excited to be here and excited to be in Jamestown, and we're looking to keep on a trucking.
What was it like up in the, you said South Dakota?
Yeah, man. South Dakota was awesome. The summers, amazing, dude. The summers were awesome. The winters killed me. I can't stand the cold. And so with my career field in the Air Force I was in, you had two options at the time. It was Vegas or South Dakota. Vegas being big city stuff, I was like, not too excited about living in Vegas. So I was like, I guess we'll do South Dakota. At least there's some hunting and some fishing and some hangout up there. So we chose South Dakota and showed up in December. And I was unloading the U-Haul to South Dakota. And as I was unloading the U-Haul, I just spit on the ground. And before my spit actually got to the ground, it froze.
Were you wishing you were in Vegas then?
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. I was like, I can't do this. I'd been there for 3.5 hours, and I was like, I can't do this. I immediately called Riley, my wife, and I said, we might have messed up. We're here for a little while. I said, my spit just rolled down the driveway frozen. So other than that, man, South Dakota was awesome. Sturgis, the motorcycle rally, we had a good time with that. Another part too is like, even in the summertime, it may get up to 90 degrees up there, and the lake water is still around like 50 degrees. So that, like, I'm not a cold guy, so there's like no swimming in the lakes for me. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, it was so cold. The lakes wouldn't thaw out until like the first weekend ish of June. So
Wow.
by the time the water got warm, August was just like around here. It's about the hottest month. That water temp was just now touching it maybe into the 60s on the southern areas of South Dakota.
So by the time it got warm again, it was getting cold again there.
Yeah. You had a very short amount of time to do a lot of like lake swimming and stuff like that. A lot of the fun stuff we like to do.
How long were you up there for?
Let's see. I got up there in 2016. Yeah, 2016. And then we left right in the middle of COVID, like when COVID was popping off. So, right around like 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. Did a lot of hunting up there. It was fun.
I bet the hunting was great up there.
Oh, man, it ruined me. Up there I'm a bow hunter, so that's all I do. I don't really gun hunt that much, but big bow hunter. And the bow hunting up there is weird because it's a lottery system up there for the deer stuff.
Even for the residents there?
Even for the residents, yep.
Oh, wow.
Even the bow tags were lottery system, but everybody hunts the prairies out there. No one really hunts the woods. So the bow tags were the easiest thing to get, which worked out in my favor because, like I said, I'm a bow hunter.
Yeah, that's what you wanted anyway.
Yeah. So every year, they actually, towards the end of the deer season, they would give out extra tags to just the bow hunters because they would allocate, like, let's say 200,000. Well, 30,000 of them would be, they would actually give like 30,000 of them, so they'd have all these surplus tags. So there was a couple years where I could have taken a lot of deer, just because people don't bow hunt up there.
Oh, really? Everybody's gun hunting on the prairies, like you said?
Yep, everybody's,
All about the long shot.
Oh, yeah. These guys would have some wicked rifle builds and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's all cool and stuff, but I don't know anything about what you're talking about because I'm not a gun hunter, but looks cool, dude,
Yeah, I hunt with both, but I've been trying to get into the bow hunting more the last couple of years. What bow are you shooting?
I shoot a Matthews bow. Yeah, I shoot a Matthews Halon 6. It's a compound bow I shoot.
Yeah, I got the Elite Era. That's what I've been in. I looked at a lot of them, and that one just felt good.
Yeah.
I just kind of went with it. So
yeah, I've had a few bows over the years. The Halon 6 is probably my favorite because it's so compact and short. So, like if you're hunting in a ground blind and you got a bow that's got very vertical limbs, you're scratching that blind, and it sounds like you're talking through a megaphone when you scratch that blind. Deer's freak out.
Might as well just be hollering.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to go. Turkey season's coming up. I want to kill a turkey with a bow. That's like my goal.
Dude, that would be cool. And I tell people this all the time, and I feel like turkey hunting's gotten a lot bigger over the last 5-6 years, and that may just not be me paying attention.
No, I'd say you're probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really into turkey hunting until just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but when people ask me if I've ever turkey hunted before, I'm like, I've literally never hunted turkey ever. But people that are into turkey hunting, man, they're freaks about it.
You talk to anybody who's a real turkey hunter, they like it more than deer hunting or anything else. They'd rather be doing it than anything.
Absolutely.
And I went last year. I guess last year was really the first time I actually was pretty serious about it. And me and Hunter went because he turkey hunts a lot, and it was great. I mean, it was fun, because you just always, it's not like deer hunting where you're waiting on it. You're always getting the action.
Yeah.
If you got them gobbling at you, they're coming to you. Actually, the one I killed last year, I had to crawl across the field probably, I want to say at least 100 yards over a little ridge and popped up and shot it.
Now that is action, like you said, deer hunting can be a lot of sit and wait. But one thing that someone said was like, in deer season, when you're calling a deer, it's hit or miss, but people have talked about calling turkeys from forever away and you can hear them coming in,
Oh yeah.
See, even when I deer hunt, especially in South Dakota, I rarely ever use any sort of call or anything, which up there was a little bit different. But up here or here in Tennessee, I never use a call for anything. But I could see these people. I mean, I used to work with a guy, and it got so annoying. But he would have a turkey call in his mouth all day at work, and dude would be hitting on that thing. And I'm like, dude, that is crazy loud.
He's getting his practice in.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
So I can't even do the mouth call.
Yeah.
I can't do it at all. And you see those guys that can just do it like it's perfect.
Yeah.
I use the slate call.
Yeah.
But I'm like you, kind of on the deer hunt. I keep a grunt call with me, but I don't really use it all that much.
Yeah. I feel like more times than not, it does harm.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Yeah. So I take that kind of situation out. I'm like, if I make a good call and I bring a deer in, great. And if I were to call and then I don't see anything, I'm on my way home at night, like, did I maybe spook one off that call,
You're always second guessing.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just not going to do that.
What was that terrain like up there in South Dakota? I guess it's pretty mountainy in the woods, right?
Yeah. Well, so South Dakota up there to the locals, it's kind of divided right in the middle of the state with the Missouri River. So everybody calls it East River or West River. And East River is a lot of prairies, flat. There's a lot of pheasant hunting and stuff up there. And then West River is where you start getting into the Black Hills. So a little bit more hilly terrain. They call it mountains over there, but definitely more hilly, more wooded on the west side. But yeah, prairie hunting, definitely East River. If you want to get in the woods with a little bit of prairie action, you can go West River. That's kind of how it is. And the terrain up there is definitely interesting. All the tree coverage, foliage up there is evergreen style. So the ground is really clear, which I like because I'm in a tree stand. So I'll get up in the needles, the pine needles, and you can still see for 200 yards in the woods. It's crazy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What about, so you were up there for a while, and then your time just came to the end in the Air Force. Is that, and you just wanted to come home then? Is that
Yeah. So I did a 4-year contract with the Air Force, and then at the end of that 4-year contract, I extended for 1 year on a deal where I was going to instruct for the last 6 months, or for the first 6 months of my 1 year extension, and then my last 6 months I was going to do a partnership with the Department of Energy. So I went out with Y12 and did some things out there for them. So the last year was like 6 months with the DoD, the Department of Defense, and then the final 6 months of my 1 year extension was with the Department of Energy at Y12. So yeah, it just came to an end. I mean, it was one of those things where there was a limit to the amount I could do after my 4-year contract. So I did a lot of like combat stuff my first 4 years, and then after that was up there, like, you're gonna kind of sit behind a desk now and be a supervisor. And I'm like, I don't want to really sit behind a desk. I'd rather keep on doing what I'm doing, because if I'm going to sit behind a desk, I can do that in Tennessee, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, in my military time, I had goals, and I definitely achieved all those goals that I set for myself. And so I was happy getting out with.
It's just time to move on to something else.
Yeah,
then.
it's time to go on. It was a cool experience.
You said you were flying drones for some of it. Is that what you planned on doing when you went in?
Yeah, that was the job that was, so before, I mentioned earlier about I had the opportunity to do a specific job. Most of the time when people go into the military, they go in with a very broad idea of what they're going to do in the military. The drone stuff was, used to be, you had to already be in the military to go into that career field. So it wasn't open to the public. And then in 2015, they opened it up to the public, and so that's how I went straight from the civilian side. I went and had to retake the ASVAB, and then went straight into the drone side. So yeah, that's kind of how that worked. So it was sort of predetermined, which is not rare, but just not very common when you go into the military to have a specific job you're going for.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
From the outside, is just that it'd be broader, and you kind of figure it out when you got in there.
Yeah. Yep.
But I guess you just hit it right at the right time.
Yeah. Definitely. The intent on joining the military was specifically for that job. When I went in and took the ASVAB, I told him, I was like, I'm going to take this ASVAB, and if I qualify for this job, I'm going to take it. But if I don't, I'm going to go back and do what I was doing before I took the ASVAB again.
So would you recommend it to other people to get into it?
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you have a direct plan, which everybody has their own mentality on going into the military, and their own mentality on getting out. I highly recommend the military, not just for a job or a career. I recommend the military just because, there's a lot of things you gain from joining the military, just based on like personal experience. I felt like I got some responsibility. I felt like I did okay before the military, but once you get in the military, you realize like, oh, I'm not as cut and dry as I thought I was. Like this kind of straightens some things up, and I don't know, it makes you turn into an adult. I feel like it was kind of like a transition period where
matures you a little bit.
Yeah, like I went from like I played high school ball and everything was good and everything was easy, and then I joined the military and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm an adult now, which is weird. I don't know. That was kind of like my thought process on it, but I highly recommend it to everybody. And like I said, everybody has their own take on the military, but I recommend it to all the people that asked me,
Yeah, I know. We had Chase Fowler on here, and he recommended it, and then we had Wade on here, and he didn't recommend it. So that's why I kind of wanted to get your opinion on it there.
Yeah, for sure.
So what about let's get into Birdies Lounge there. I mean, how did that come about?
Yeah, so back to South Dakota, there was this is kind of where the idea started to form, was up there. We were also talking about how incredibly cold it was up there. There was a very similar setup to Birdies, which Birdies is a golf simulator sports bar. That's kind of like the label of it, I guess. And so up there in South Dakota, there was this place called Four Seasons, and it was a golf simulator, more focused on the golf than we are, I guess I should say. But their setup was exactly like Birdies for the most part. Their idea was there's like 2 months out of the year that you can actually go outside and play golf. So out of the entire time I was up there, I'd heard about this place. I was trying to get in this place, but they were so busy that I never actually played golf there. So they were packed all the time. I mean, it was unreal. And so I just got to thinking, I was like, Jamestown, obviously, we just don't have a whole lot of things to do, So I was like, that might work in Jamestown, even though that our weather is much more conducive than South Dakota's weather. I was like, this still might work. So,
you still have to drive 40 minutes to a golf course, I guess. I guess Monterey's be the closest, right?
Yeah.
I guess it probably ain't 40 minutes, but still a good little drive.
Yeah, it's still a good drive. And, Crossville being the golf capital of Tennessee, we do have an abundance of golfers, not just here in Jamestown, but in the local area. So that was kind of like the idea, was take that model of golf simulator sports bar, tweak it a little bit to more of our taste, and then bring it into Jamestown, not specifically because of the weather, but because of the location, So obviously I had this business model kind of planned out. And number one on the business model was location. I mean, you can have the best business in the world and be in a bad location and never do anything, So the location was number one most important thing, and we just got absolutely lucky, blessed, whatever you want to call it, on the location, because we wanted to be on Main Street, and as you know, those buildings are pretty old.
Oh, yeah.
So those buildings don't really come up for sale very often. And even if you do get one for sale there on Main Street, typically it needs a lot of work to do some things.
Yeah.
So like I said, got extremely lucky. So we moved back into Jamestown at the beginning. Well, it was right in the middle of 2020. And so that's when I started just kind of looking around. It's also a massive life change, not just with COVID, but I was also getting out of the military in the middle of COVID. So moving around, all the logistics, trying to get around COVID. I also was technically looking for a job at the time. My wife was just finishing up her teaching degree, so she's in the process of finding a school to teach at around here. So
it was a hectic time.
Oh my gosh. And we were planning a wedding. So 2020 was one of those years, it was just like almost a blur because so much was going on. So yeah, once we sort of got settled, I started kind of messing around, looking for a facility that we could potentially put this place at. And we got like super lucky. That building came up for sale, and we immediately was interested in it. And so that was kind of like the green light for most of Birdies. And then the second green light was getting all the permitting for the on-premises beer package.
Yeah, how was that?
Honestly, man, I'll tell you, I was scared to death of it because
people talk like it's going to be a big headache.
Yeah, they talk like it's going to be a massive headache. And on top of that, there's not... I was really scared that the community wouldn't accept it. I guess that was like my secondary concern. The permitting was going to be hard to deal with, and then it was going to be the community not accepting it, which... I was completely wrong on stressing about all those. The permitting was not hard. The committee, the city of Jamestown, Fentress County, everybody has been incredibly on board with it. The community has been awesome. We've had people say, like, it's good to have something to do in Jamestown, and so the community's been super accepting. The city of Jamestown's been awesome, not just helpful, but over the top. Fentress County in general, they've stuck their neck out for us, and it's been an awesome relationship with the local politics, and the mayors and everything. It's been awesome, and they've been super accepting, which was, sort of a surprise. And I guess that's kind of a bad judgment on my part to begin with, but it's been awesome to see like Fentress County and Jamestown come together and really help us out. We had a vision, and we just hoped that our vision kind of fell within the parameters of the laws and stuff like that, which it did. And so, but it's been awesome between the community and all the help from the government, local government. It's been awesome.
Now, whenever you first started out, you were serving the beer and all the drinks and stuff, but you weren't serving food. You're getting the food trucks in and stuff, but you've recently started serving food, right?
That's coming.
Yeah, about to start anyway.
Yeah, and that was the plan. The business model was to really just make sure that the golf and sports bar side could maintain itself before we invested more money into it to build a really nice kitchen, which we're at the very end of that, and we're super, super excited for that. So we wanted to make sure that our initial plan was going to work before we invested even more money into this. So, we're super excited for food. I think it's going to be a huge help. The way that we're going to be doing food, I think, will be a huge help for people that work inside of Jamestown. So there's going to be an app-based ordering system. So you'll be able to order from, let's say if you work at the courthouse or work at the post office, which is right across from Birdies. If you work there, you can get on our app. You'll be able to order the food and then basically walk into Birdies and it's ready for you. So
that's awesome.
So it's going to be a benefit to, people that might have like a 30-minute lunch,
Yeah.
I mean, right now in Jamestown, if you have a 30-minute lunch, you're already limited on restaurants, So this is going to be huge help for people that are in a crunch to be able to order on the app. We're also already teamed up with DoorDash, so we're going to be, I guess, as far as I know, the only place that's not a chain restaurant that will be able to have deliveries from DoorDash in Jamestown. So everybody else, like Little Caesars and all those places. So we'll be partnered up with DoorDash as of right now. We're still working out a few of the little details on that.
Is it DoorDash, the app they're going to order through, or are you all getting your own app? Or
DoorDash will be...
like for the pickup?
Yeah, so the one way for the pickup, you can do it through our app. So we'll have an app too.
So you're gonna have a Birdies Lounge app.
Well, it'll be facilitated through the website. So it'll be kind of like a website based app.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it'll be off of that, or you can just go straight to our website and it'll tune you in there. And then DoorDash will be just purely for deliveries. So, but we're gonna have two ways you can order there. So we're super excited about that. I think it's going to be fun. And it also allowed me to, I feel like, Birdies as a sports bar has always been missing a piece. And I think, having the wings and the burgers and the appetizers and all that to go with, your soda or beer, whatever, I think that's the piece that we're missing right now. And, so we're just excited to feel like an actual sports bar.
It's really going to add to the atmosphere.
Yeah, I do believe so. And, man, even for like the Super Bowl, I'm sitting in there and I'm watching 35 Little Caesars pizzas sitting inside of Birdies, and I'm like, man, I wish we had food in here because I know everybody else would. Could have been 35
of your orders.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's kind of like what we were looking at, and man, we get asked daily about food, and even when we first opened, people were already like, when are you getting food? I'm like, well, right now I'm broke because I've invested all of my money into Birdies.
A lot of people don't realize how expensive those simulators are and stuff.
My God. And that was part of the research and part of the business plan was obviously one of the most important things was those simulators. And so the simulator that we use is Unicore. That's the brand. And I mean, simulators are one of those things you can go from $500 up to $150,000. So picking the right one is super important. And, I mean, other than the actual building, that was our largest cost for sure. Was the simulators because, we have 3 of them. So replicating that was.
Did you like buy them just like a full kit and somebody come in and install it, or did you piece it out and did you install it yourself? How did that work?
Yeah. So, where we weren't really in a massive hurry to get it built, because like I said, location was the most important. So I spent probably a year and a half just researching golf simulators. So by the time the year and a half had gone by, I felt like I was in tune enough to set them up myself. So, I pieced them together myself, installed them myself, which really helped on the cost. So for instance, TrackMan, they'll come in and do a full setup for you. You're looking at full setup about $135,000 per bay. So you're looking at, $385,000 for 3 bays.
More than the whole building.
Yeah, more than the building cost. So I was like, I think that with the research I've done, I think I can fumble through it enough. And if I need help, I can get somebody out here, So, we pieced it together and put it all together ourselves.
And then I guess the benefit of being in Jamestown, you don't have any competition. So it's not like you need a TrackMan to advertise that you're a TrackMan place. Like you see that a lot, in other places where they advertise they've got a TrackMan, but you don't really need that out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. The competition was also part of the business model itself. The golf simulator world is rapidly evolving and changing and adding. Now, whenever we opened, there was, to my knowledge, only 1 or 2 more golf simulator facilities in Tennessee. One was in Murfreesboro called Tennessee Golf Station, which he was a huge help, the owner of that place. Me and him talked for a while before we actually opened Birdies. And the other one was just outside of Memphis. But now you get on Google right now, type in golf simulator facilities in Tennessee. I'd say there's probably 20.
Oh yeah.
So it's a rapidly growing market. It's I think it's more of a convenience thing. And, like my father-in-law told me, he said it's always good weather in here.
Yeah.
Tennessee is one of those places. Just like right now, it was almost 80 degrees the other day, and now it's 40. So with the golf simulator, right now we're up to 1,500 different golf courses. You can play all the famous courses in the country, and you don't have to worry about, if I travel to Pebble Beach, I'm going to spend $1,000 to play 18 holes and it might get rained out.
Yeah.
Obviously everybody wants to play Pebble Beach,
Okay.
But it is a convenience thing, being able to come, you can play 18 holes in about 30 minutes by yourself. It's good practice, with the golf simulators that we have. There are, training tools on there where you can do swing analysis. There's like 40, I think they're up to 40 different parameters on your golf swing and ball flight path. So you can really start getting in there and tuning things up. If you're a serious golfer, you can really do some good training in there, which is good to see your ball flight on the range. Like when you go to the range, you see your full ball flight. With the simulator, you kind of just have to trust that it's doing what your shot's actually doing.
They are pretty accurate though.
Yeah. I think they're extremely accurate. We had a golf pro come in. It was probably like 4 or 5 months after we opened, and he was kind of like my verifying guy. He was like, "Man, these are really good simulators," which was kind of a relief for me because I play a lot of golf. That doesn't mean I'm good at golf. I just play a lot. So to have a pro come in and hit around out there and kind of give me the thumbs up made me feel better about that.
Have you gotten a lot better yourself since you opened?
Yeah. And sadly, I tell people if you hit 4,000 balls a week, you should get better. Whenever I played high school golf, I think I may have played with Hunter. I think he played out there golf out in Clark Range. But if I did play with him and he remembers it, he'll know that I was terrible at golf in high school. I was awful. And so we hosted, once we first opened, I hosted York High School's golf team out there and just said, "Hey, this is what's available to you." I give them a discount for high school golf team stuff. And at the end of my little showing of this golf simulators, I said, the head coach here, he won't admit it to anybody, but I was probably the worst golf player on the team. And I'm sure it's a shock to him to see me opening up a golf simulator facility, because he thought that, I'm sure he thought that where I was so bad there was no chance that it was me that was opening it up. So I was not good at golf. I just loved it. So
Yeah, you don't have to be good at it to love it. I mean, I'm not that good either, but it's just something about it.
Yeah, it's addicting.
But you go to the golf course, and I would say probably 95% of the people you're going to see out there are not that good.
Though I was just about to say that. I tell people all the time because they're in the simulators and they're getting down on themselves. They're like, man, I'm just not playing good today, or I'm not good at golf. And I always say, no one is good at golf. I mean, and I say that to say, like, you know, obviously the PGA guys are awesome, but I mean, 99.5% of people are just playing golf for fun.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much better the PGA guys are.
Oh.
Like, I mean, you know, all sports, the pros are on a different level, but I feel like golf may be the biggest separation of levels right there.
For sure. You know, I've had the opportunity to go to a couple professional golf events in the last couple of years, and me and a buddy of mine was literally talking about just the sounds that their clubs make.
Oh, yeah.
That is number one indicator that they are just on a different level. Plus, I mean, all their clubs are like scientifically made to fit them.
Yeah.
You know, so not that we're trying to make an excuse on why we suck at golf.
That's a good excuse, though.
Yeah,
That's a good
I don't
excuse.
have $50,000 to put in my bag. So, yeah. So I would completely agree with you that the biggest skill gap between amateurs and professionals has to be golf.
And there's even a bigger skill gap when you get in there. Like, say you get in the top 100. There's a huge skill gap between 100 and the top 10.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even if you go and look at the bottom, like the Masters coming up, I promise those are obviously some of the best golfers in the world. And you can go down there and see those guys having a bad day. You get down at the bottom of the list on the leaderboard, and some of those guys are going to be probably 12, 15 over, which, granted, they're playing from a very, very, very far tee box distance. So, but, I mean, these pros, they have bad days too, but the guys that are on, they're nuts.
Oh, yeah.
They're nuts.
It's crazy to watch them. I love watching it. You know, a lot of people don't like watching golf, but I guess you have to really appreciate it and play it and just know how hard it is to really appreciate watching them do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. One guy I've been watching a lot here recently, I can't remember his first name, but Knapp, K-N-A-P-P. Jake
Knapp, I like him.
Dude, his swing, butter.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
He crushes it, doesn't he?
Oh, and smashes it. Yeah. But his swing looks so flawless.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's one of those guys that you watch the swing in slow motion and you're like, how is he getting that kind of club speed on that thing? I mean, the ball speed off the driver is like 190. Like,
crazy.
Nuts. You know, 180 to 190 ball speed. And you look at Rory, he's 180 to 190 ball speed. And it's such a mechanical game, which also gets in your head. You know, I think that's a big thing with golf. It's just most of it's just in your head. But I went to the player or the tour championship in Atlanta year before last, and I did not realize how short Rory McIlroy was.
Yeah, he's like 5'9" or 5'10".
Yeah, when you see him on TV, you're like, oh, he's swinging that fast. You know, he's crushing.
Yeah, you
the
think
ball.
he's going to be some
Tall,
big, crazy looking guy, but
he walked out, and I was like, that's got to be a like a stunt double or something, because he was so small. I was like, there's no way that he's crushing the ball that hard. You know, and like me, I'm a pretty small guy, so it's hard for me to get club speed. And then I watch someone like Rory, 5'9", he's like probably 160 pounds. I'm like, dude, he's just like a god.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's a golf god.
It is crazy to watch them guys that do that. And that's one thing I love about golf too. Is they're just guys of all different shapes and sizes. Mm-hmm. You'll see any kind of body type out there, and they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, Akshay Bhatia, I think's his name. Yeah. He's like what, 6'1". Looks like he might weigh 130 pounds. I mean, he is skin and bones. But dude crushes too. I would love watching his swing in slow motion. It looks like he's breaking something.
That's like Minwoo Lee. I really like Minwoo Lee, and he's
cool.
Just a little.
He's got swag.
Guy. Oh yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
You know, I went to the Live when it come to Nashville.
I was there too.
Did you go to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it, like just like you said, like just looking at those guys. What you got, like guys like Brooks and Bryson. You know, they're pretty big and jacked, but you got like that. Was it Neiman? Joaquin?
Yeah, Joaquin. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a little skinny guy, and he can crush it.
Yeah. It's It's all technique, and I've obviously watched a lot of golf, and I've watched people that come into birdies. I've seen all skill levels come into birdies, and to watch the difference between like a beginner golfer and someone who's probably like a 10 handicap, and then someone who's probably like a +1 handicap. It's crazy. Not just their swing dynamics, but the confidence.
Yeah, the mental. That's what I was about to say. The mental game of it is so much different.
Yeah. So like these guys that, you know, are scratch golfers, a lot of them, you can feel the confidence when they just approach the golf ball, and they never second guess themselves, rarely ever. And like you said, it's all a mental game. And these guys, they get up there, they know exactly what their club's going to do. They know exactly what their swing's going to do. And, you know, these people that come in, they're like, oh, like I'm having a bad day. I'm like, these guys, they probably hit the range 4 or 5 times a week. They probably play 18 holes 2 or 3 times a week at least. And it takes that kind of stuff to get really good at golf. But there's the occasional 0.01% that's just God-given. They know how to hit a golf ball.
Yeah. I had a pro tell me one time that he said when you start getting good at golf, you like the people just starting out, you're always looking at the ball and you're worried about the ball and like where you're going to hit the ball. Mm-hmm. But when you start getting good at it, you don't even think about the ball even being there. You're just worried. You're just looking out there saying that's where I'm going to hit it, and you don't even pay no attention to the ball.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I think the biggest thing that's helped me with my golf game is really just, you know, just getting in there and hitting a whole bunch. You know, once you hit just all the time, you start understanding like why your ball flight does a certain thing in the air, you know. So, you know, I tell people all the time, just hitting the golf ball, coming in here, you know, we have memberships and stuff like that now. We've got people that during the winter time, they come in and they get our memberships, and they're in there almost every day. And some people, I feel like it's like a hobby. And then I feel like some people that are the members see it as like, I have to get good at golf.
Yeah, they're dedicated to it.
I have to get good at golf. And so that was interesting. This was the first year membership, so it was kind of interesting to see the different dynamics of the people that bought the memberships.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I've got a simulator downstairs, and I know I used to stay on it all the time. And
Which one do you have?
I've got the Bushnell Launch Pro.
Yeah.
It's like the GC Quad 3, same thing. But and it's good. I like it. I've got the GS Pro too. That's what you've got on all yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best
software.
That's far the best. I think mine come with that Foresight software. I just didn't really like the range on it. Was okay. I like the range on it, but and then you had to pay so much more for like all the courses. You had to buy like every course separate.
Yeah.
And I just like the GS Pro a lot better.
Yeah, GS Pro is awesome. You know, they're updating it literally probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on there today on GS Pro, and there's 1,500 golf courses, and I bet we can log in next week, and there's going to be 1,505.
Yeah, you never run out of somewhere new to play.
Not at all. It's quite impressive what they do with that, and you know, they're adding cool little games and stuff like that to GS Pro.
Yeah.
You know, I think they even have like cornhole on there.
Yeah, they're making something for everybody.
Yeah.
That's why you can go out there to Birdies, and you don't even have to like golf, and you can go out there and have fun.
Oh yeah, we had a group of guys. Well, I was part of a group of guys, and so we literally just sat around and played putt for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah,
just messing around, hanging out, listening to music. But yeah, me and like 5 other guys just played putt for hours, and super fun. And I tell everybody, you know, there's a lot of people that come in. They're like, well, I play golf, but my buddies don't. Well, you know, you can still come in and play putt. You know, that'd be fun. And like I said, there's little cornhole games. And there's even like beer pong. You can play like beer pong on GS Pro, where you just chip the ball into the beer pong cups. Super fun. So I mean, even if you're not big into golf, Birdies it's got something, you know.
And it's fun too if you are into golf and you're practicing. It's fun to just play those little games like that, like that beer pong game or anything, and that's good practice too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, most people lose strokes on the course because they're chipping and putting, and that's one little thing that I do. Just when I'm bored, I'll go out there and I'll play the little beer pong game just to chip 200 times.
And that's a good thing too, to just kind of relax you, because you get to playing and you're like trying to keep score and you're playing the course and you just get frustrated with yourself, and then you can't even practice then because that just throws your whole everything off.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the little beer pong game, and usually if I'm going into practice, like if I play around like in person or at Birdies, something's off, like my chipping. Like here recently, I've been on a chipping slump. Like my chipping is just atrocious right now, and I'm not sure why. But what I'll do tomorrow is I will go in, I'll set on the range to like 20 yards, and I'll probably hit 500 to 1,000 chip shots tomorrow, just because I've got to figure it out. It's going to just drive me nuts.
Then you get dialed back in on that, and then something else goes wrong.
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly it never fails.
That's how it always is. I know I go to the course or something, and I'll just be striping every drive or something. I can't hit my irons, and then I'll go back the next time, and I can hit my irons good, but I can't keep a drive on the course.
Yep, it never fails. And I think out of the entire time I've had Birdies open, which we opened in September of 2023, since I've opened Birdies, I've probably played, I don't know, I've probably played 1,000+ rounds. Out of those 1,000+ rounds, I've had one round the entire time where I felt like everything was okay. I mean, it was one of those rounds where I was just like, I was on like hole 12, and I was like, all right, this is normally where I start just falling apart. And locked in, put down a good score, and I was like, I'm going to try to remember this for the rest of my life because it may never happen again. Where one round, everything felt okay.
And then you forget it the next round.
Absolutely. I played right after that, and it just went back to old me.
What's your best score on the simulator versus on the course?
Best score on the simulator, I shot a bogey-free 65 on the simulator.
Wow.
And that was on a tournament round. So I'm sure you've seen on GS Pro the tournaments tab.
Yeah.
So I play in the Sim Golf Tour through the tournaments on that. And if you haven't checked that out, super cool.
Yeah, I haven't checked. I've seen that on there, but
Definitely
I
should.
got into it.
Super cool. They keep all your stats online and everything. It's cool.
Oh, really?
And then my best round I've ever shot was, since I've opened Birdies, it's taken a lot of my life. So probably the best round I shot, me and my wife was playing, we were playing last week, and we shot a 79. So that's my best in-person round.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to get out on the course a little bit more this year, maybe put down a really good score, hopefully. Yeah, and sim golf is a little bit different, you know, and you know, everybody says sim golf is different. I agree. You know, you don't have really as much environmental factors in.
Yeah, and you're not getting as tired because you're not moving around as much.
Exactly. And with sim golf, like with me, I'm not a long hitter. Like my driver carries 235, 240 rollout, 255, 260 on rollout. So on the simulator, I can pinpoint exactly where I'm going to lay this drive at most of the time. Whereas you go to a course, you might have a rangefinder, you know? So having the ability to know the exact wind speed, to know exactly the course layout, being able to pinpoint aim where if you hit this drive good, it's going to land right here. There's an element to the simulator golf that's, you're more prone to shoot a better score on the simulator, not because the simulator is inaccurate, but you have more tools to your advantage.
Yeah, the conditions are more advantage.
You always have a perfect lie, you know. You always have the perfect lie. You always know the wind speed. You always know, you know, whenever you play on a real course, your ball might lay in a divot. If you're playing real golf, you're playing like tournament style golf, I mean, the ball's supposed to stay there. I don't play that way when I go play. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to kick it out of that divot. I'm going to hit a good shot. But you always have a perfect lie. You know all the conditions. So, you know, you are more prone to shoot better scores in the simulator. But I will say it has made leaps and bounds on my actual golf. When I go play real golf, I mean, I've dropped. When I say I was bad at golf earlier at high school golf, I mean, a good round for me was like 105. Like,
oh, wow.
I was not good. I'm telling you, I was bottom of the barrel. Literally nobody wanted to play with me. And I don't blame them. I don't want to play with me either. I mean, now shooting low 80s, you know, so like the simulators theoretically shave 20 strokes.
That's crazy. Yeah, and low 80s, that's good. I mean, that's really good. Like people who don't golf, if anybody who doesn't golf's listening to this, like low 80s, I mean that's a really good. Most golfers never even break 90. I think is what they say.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I think there was a stat that came out by the. It was the. Wasn't the PGA? Who is it keeps up with the handicaps?
The USGA.
USGA, yes, thank you. The USGA came out and said that 90% of golfers will never break 90 legitimately. So, I mean, that's a massive stat. So that means 10% of everybody that golfs religiously that has a handicap, which not everybody has a handicap, 10% of those guys will at least break 90, but 90% won't ever break 90. And I think that was a wild stat.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's why it was always, whenever I got started there, it's always like you got to break 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when you get to break 90, you want to break 80, and then you just want to keep it going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There just comes a point down there. It's like I guess everybody gets as good as they're probably going to get at some point. You think it eventually comes down to that?
Yeah, I think you can definitely hit a max with golf. I think really which age and stuff like that comes into play. But if you notice, like a lot of like older golfers, they're ridiculous around the greens.
Oh yeah, their short game is crazy.
Yeah, within 100 yards, those guys are money. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because they get so focused in because they know that they're never going to hit another 300-yard drive. So they're like, if I can't gain a stroke from the tee box, I can gain a stroke around the greens.
And they do, most of them.
Yeah, most of them are just ridiculous, and I mean, can put that ball wherever they want to. So,
and even when they're not, they're not hitting long off the tee. Most of the old guys I've played with, they put them just right down the middle every time.
Yeah, every single time. And so, I would say like there is like a physical limit that you can reach with golf, but I mean, as far as like skill and score, I think you could probably play this and improve for your entire life.
Oh yeah, you've always got room to improve around the greens and stuff like that.
Because we're not hitting every 40-foot putt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the pros are still out there practicing, and until one of them's winning every single week.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see with the Masters this week. You'll see somebody. We'll probably see plenty of people miss 10-footers. You know what I mean? I mean, 10-foot sounds like a short putt, but with the pressure and everything that's going on, these guys that are getting paid millions of dollars to golf, someone's going to probably miss a 6-footer.
Well, that's like Rory last year missing a 2-footer or whatever that was.
Yeah. So we're going to see that, and these guys are, paid millions of dollars, so there's always room to improve. Yeah. That's where, like, skill, I don't think you'll ever max out, but I think there's physical aspects to golf where you can absolutely max out.
I think a lot of people, they get so good, like the guys who get really good, they get to that point, and then the improvements are just so minimal, like you can only make minimal improvements at a time. Like when you first start out, if you're shooting over 100, you can practice a lot and hit a lot and play a lot, and you can get into the 90s or, you can break 90 pretty quick if you stay with it. But after you get to shooting 72 every time, dropping a stroke at that level is there's a lot more that goes into dropping one stroke from there than it is dropping 10 strokes at 100. Yeah,
for sure. I think that also goes back into the skill level max. I mean, obviously there's not a skill level max in golf because you can't hit a hole in one on every single hole. But yeah, I mean, once you're into the 70s, which I guess I'm just talking from other guys' experience and what I've seen inside of birdies, it goes from shanks in your 100s to try to fix to I'm not hitting 2 millimeters off the center of the face. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, whenever I was in high school, and playing golf in high school, I was a shank machine. I just, that was my shot. I almost played a shank.
You see those guys on those videos who they'll turn, all the way to the left and they'll slice it right back in.
That was me.
That was you?
That was me, man. People thought I was trying to hit off into the road at Monterey, but I was really trying to hit the center of the fairway. But yeah, I mean, these guys that are shooting in the 70s, they'll come into birdies and, where we have that replay technology inside of birdies there. They'll come out there and they'll hit shots and they'll have me looking at their shot just so they can see what I'm seeing and I can see what they're seeing. And these guys look like they're hitting dead center of the face every single time. When you break it down to actual impact of the ball, they might be 2 millimeters toe side, and they're like, I can't have that. And I'm like, dude, you're crazy. I'd die for that shot. I would die for that shot.
That's one thing I love about birdies out there is that camera you've got, and you can look at where swing path comes through, and you can look at the head, and you can see exactly where it hits on it, and like you said, right down to the millimeter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a huge training tool, especially like if you're interested in golf or you're interested in getting better, or you're already a pro golfer and want somewhere to see like that type of stuff. It is a massive training tool to be able to slow your swing down, see where you might be mechanically messing up. And the thing of, I was telling my buddy, Jordan, me and him Jordan Clark, I'd spend a lot of time playing with him. And, we finally just came down and said, everybody's swing is going to be different. Nothing matters on a golf swing except the last 6 inches before the ball and 6 inches after the ball. Look at Matthew Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
I was about to say, there's a lot of guys with ugly swing, but his is probably the ugliest.
Insane.
Does that little hitch in it?
Yeah, all that's nuts. So, that's literally proof that nothing matters until impact.
Yeah. Yeah, you see a lot of those ugly swings, and those guys, they've done it so much that same way, they can still make it work.
Yep, Scotty's feet.
Yes, the Scotty Shuffle there.
Oh, my God. It looks like I've got a video on my phone I saw whenever I went to the Tour Championship in Atlanta. And I was taking a video of him and pulled it back in slow motion. It literally looked like he broke his ankle.
Yeah.
His left ankle is bent all the way in. And I was like, that is just purely repetition, knowing what your body's going to do in that situation. I was like, if I were to do something like that, not only would I break my ankle, I would probably be going to the hospital just in general. If my body did what his body did in that swing.
I used to do that shuffle thing. Me and Hunter would be playing, and I would do it, and like I didn't even notice I was doing it. I didn't think nothing about it, didn't feel that I was doing it. But Hunter's like, "You got that Scotty Shuffle to you," and I was like, "I didn't even know."
Yeah. A lot of this stuff, like I do a lot of stuff in my swing that, it in my head it feels right, and then I'll watch it on camera or watch it in slow motion there at Birdies, and I'm like, I'm so glad no one saw that. That was so bad. I think everybody has a little quirk to their swing. But yeah, that's where I tell a lot of people, it doesn't matter what you do in your swing. It's the last 6 inches before impact and after impact. It's where you start seeing a lot of stuff with your swing. I'm sure when you saw your slow motion swing there at Birdies, you probably were a little bit surprised to see what your club head does after impact.
Yeah.
If you hit toe side, it's nothing for your club head to whip almost 90 degrees back just from that impact. And then we've all hit golf shots where you hit a shot and it feels like the grip shifts at impact. That is just, it's insane to see that at, 5,000 frames a second, to see that kind of slow down and watch what your club head actually does.
Yeah, because you definitely, you feel like you've got a good grip on it. You feel like it didn't move any, and then you break it down to the slow motion of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. It is nuts for sure to see that in slow motion.
So we was talking about the pros there. Who you got in the Masters this weekend while we're on that?
Oh, man. I would really love to see Rory win one. Or has he won the Masters?
He ain't won the Masters. That's the only one he ain't won.
Yeah,
are you a big Rory guy?
I like Rory just because he stuck his neck out for the PGA when that Live PGA stuff was going on.
What's your take on that? The Live PGA deal.
I understand why these guys took the money because it's astronomical money. But people like Rory and Tiger that turned down potentially close to $1 billion contracts.
Yeah, Tiger was at least $1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah. So for him to turn that down and then immediately the PGA say that they're going to merge, that was a really dirty play.
Yeah, it was a slap in their face.
Yeah, dirty play.
Especially for Rory. They've had Rory. He's been all over the place now because he's trying to, I guess he's trying to stay with them. But I guess where they've been all over the place, he has too.
Yeah, Rory stuck his neck out for the PGA, and then, obviously Liv was talking to him. He even said he was in contact with Liv. And then to make the announcement that they are going to merge with Liv after all these guys had turned down these massive contracts. And before that, they said they were going to be banned from PGA events, which, Rory and Tiger both were like, this is more of a tradition thing than a money thing, And so now they could have gotten, those massive contracts and still played in the Masters and played in, all the majors. I don't know. Obviously, if I was in that situation, I'm probably running to the money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm running straight
Yeah,
to
I mean,
live.
you're not going to turn down $50-100 million to go play.
Man, I wouldn't turn down 10 grand. I wouldn't turn
I'd
down
go play
10.
for free if somebody pay for the
Yeah,
round.
yeah, exactly. You just cover the round at Augusta, we're good, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think the live? I mean, they've been supposed to merge for so long. Do you think they're eventually going to get it done? 'Cause
Well,
I know they're talking about some of these guys' contracts coming up, and they're
Yeah.
like Brooks and Bryson talking about coming back. And I mean, if Liv lost like Brooks and Bryson, that's their two big stars.
yeah,
That'd be devastating for them if they hadn't merged yet.
absolutely. I think I just heard something recently that some of the financing on the Saudi side was falling through. So,
Oh, really?
And I haven't followed up on the research on that. I just heard it from, I think it was coming through on the Pat McAfee show. They brought up the PGA Live discussion a couple days ago, and I think they were talking about some of the Saudi money falling through. I don't know. It's such a massive merge that's so drama filled. I'm not sure what'll happen with that, but I don't know. When I went to the Live event in Nashville, I mean, it kind of blew my mind how awesome it was.
Oh, they put on a good event. People try to talk a lot of crap about Liv, but they put on a great event.
Yeah, I was very shocked at how much fun it was. You know, I think to enjoy a PGA event, like truly enjoy it, you kind of have to be like an avid golf fan. You know, you kind of got to be interested in the players and how they're doing and their story and, you know, the legacy of the course that they're playing at and things like that.
Liv kind of gives you more of the Birdies Lounge vibe.
Yeah, Birdies Lounge. It's more entertainment.
More of a party.
It's more of a party for sure. We spent the majority of our day at that Live event at the party tent. We had we upgraded to the party thing because it was going to be so hot that day. If you remember, it was
hot,
scorching. So we stayed on that par 3, the party hole in par 3 until Bryson came around, and then Bryson to finish. He started on 3, so he ended on 2. So we waited until he got to, I think it was like 15. I think that was the party hole, the par 3. And then we followed him around. But man, I'll tell you, I think Liv, as far as the event side of it goes, they can definitely tap into a market that's on the fence about enjoying golf, aka my wife. You know, she's like, I like to play golf, but I'm not entirely sure about watching golf, even in person.
Yeah, they can still kind of get some of those people who are like, golf is boring to watch.
Absolutely.
And you know, I'm not going to go watch golf because it's boring and everybody's quiet and, you know, there's nothing there for me.
Yeah.
They can get those people who are like that and say, well, we have something for you now.
Yeah. You want to come hang out? I mean, they're on the party hall. I mean, they were even making it entertaining between golfers. You know, there was a couple times where there was a kind of a gap in between one group leaving and another group getting in there. And to fill the void, to keep people from being bored, they literally just started throwing around like 10 Frisbees.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
and that's so strange, but it kept everybody entertained. It turned into like a party trick or something.
Yeah, kept you from getting bored.
Yeah, and they just kept us entertained, and you know, that loud music and you know, and drinks and things like that, and little contests going on in between groups. I mean, it's one of those things like, just like Birdies, even if you're not a massive golf fan, there's a way to have fun, you know, at those events. So I'll definitely be going back to another Live event. It does surprise me that it's not coming back to Nashville this year.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
Yeah.
I expected it to come back just because it seemed like they had a big crowd there,
man.
and it was just a real good event. But
Greg Norman, who is the North American CEO, or well, I don't know if he's technically the CEO, but
he was the CEO. But then they were kind of going to get him out, but then they kind of left him in, and I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of weird. He's got something to do with it.
Yeah. So I guess the best thing to call him right now is the North American ambassador. So that's his golf course.
Yeah,
you know, and I actually got a picture and he signed my hat. And then he made a post on Instagram shortly after that event saying that was the best event they had in North America to date. I don't know if he's posted anything since then referencing that. But, I totally thought that they would be coming back. And I'm kind of disappointed to see that they won't be back at Nashville, seeing that it's his course and it was
it done so well.
Yeah.
You definitely think they would, from a business standpoint, you think they'd want to come back there. But I don't know, maybe they're just trying to, where they're new, they're just trying to experiment with other places and kind of see where the bigger markets are at.
I want to see him do more night golf. I think that'd be cool.
That
Do
would
a
be
live
cool.
night golf thing, because I mean that's been kind of growing here recently. I'm sure some of this YouTube golf is kind of taking that off as the night golf stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to see a night live event. I think that'd be cool.
What do you think about all the YouTube golf? You into that?
I do watch the Bryan Bros. I used to watch them.
Yeah, they were always my favorite.
Yeah.
What about, did you see, speaking of them, I mean, I don't know, I hadn't looked into it anymore, but where Wesley Bryan was supposed to be getting suspended by the PGA for playing in that live, the live creator thing done, like last weekend.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look it up here, but yeah, that's what I was reading.
I thought I heard his name. I think that was right after on the Pat McAfee show. I think they were talking about that, and then I think they brought that up, but I tuned out because I was working inside of Birdies. But I think I remember hearing something about that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, see, I don't know
what that was about
exactly how. I haven't seen it from anything big, any big like ESPN or something. I haven't seen it from that, but like Phil Mickelson, he tweeted about it, I think.
Wow.
And he was talking. Yeah, right here it says this is Phil Mickelson's tweet from April the 3rd. It said, "You were absolutely correct. An email was sent threatening to ban all creators if they participated. They rescinded that threat to all creators except Wes Bryan. They still banned him for a year."
How can you do that? I don't know. But that is strange, because you would think as big as they are, you would want as much exposure on either side, which neither one of them.
And especially if they were going to merge, though, like you wouldn't think they'd care. But I don't know. They definitely do some weird stuff.
I never really understood, like when we were talking about the PGA Live merger, Full Swing, the Netflix series.
Yeah, I love that.
It's awesome. But when they started talking about the PGA players were going to be banned if they signed a live contract, I didn't understand that anyways, because I'm like, you want the best golfers in the world.
Yeah.
So if a live golfer can come in and win a major, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares where they're playing at? I don't care if they're playing at Monterey Golf Course and they're the member out there. If they can go to a major and win, who cares who it is?
That's why I'm glad the majors all decided to let them in. And I think that really kind of, it didn't kill it, but it really hurt the PGA's smaller events. They needed some of those guys that went to live there, even if they wasn't in the prime of their career or anything. They needed just the name out there to show up to really sell their event. And now you get a lot of the top guys in the PGA aren't going to mostly small ones. They've got the whatever the signature events now.
Yeah.
And I think it really hurt the smaller events.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know, it definitely made it weird for me because I'm a golf fan. So I'm like, with Bryson. Bryson did something that I would have never seen coming, which was he took that money, went to live, and then he exploded.
Yeah, most people didn't even like Bryson before.
Yeah, and then when he got his, when he started doing his stuff online, I think it sort of humanized him to be like, oh, he's actually like entertaining to watch, and he seems like a pretty funny dude.
Yeah, he's pretty cool because when you watched him before, it's like he's
crybaby.
Yeah, he's kind of like a. I mean, I guess he's just kind of like a dick. He's kind of a. He just gave you that he was like kind of better than everybody vibe, and he was doing all the. Scientific stuff, trying to figure all that out and stuff, and
coming out with his own clubs and stuff.
Yeah, like he just kind of gave off a bad vibe, like he's just smarter than you and better than you. But after he got his YouTube started, I mean, I like him now too. Everybody likes him. It's like Brooks even likes him, and Brooks didn't like him before.
I will say, I was kind of a Brooks fan before the Full Swing.
Yeah, I've always liked Brooks. I've always been a big Brooks guy.
I don't know, he was very strange on Full Swing on the series. And like, I liked Brooks, he had a little bit of swag and he seemed like a pretty cool dude, but Full Swing, I don't know, it kind of turned me a little bit on him. Not that, it was massive, but he's been sort of quiet recently. Like, maybe I may have missed something, but
no, you're right. He's
been kind
I've
of
noticed
on the radar.
That. Yeah, he hasn't been really, been being brought up a whole lot. You'll see him, he'll win a live event like every once in a while. Yeah. But I feel like if he's not winning them, he's really not even
Yeah.
He's like he kind of checks out of some of them
Yeah.
events.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. He's either hot or he's
Well,
not present.
Yeah, and they always talk about that he only cares about playing in the majors anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like he's just out there practicing the rest of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that side of it too, but I really hope Liv comes back around to Tennessee. I'll definitely go to another one, and I will pay extra to go back to that party area because
That's definitely worth it.
It was way worth it because, like I said, that day was a scorcher, and it was nice to have shade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you pay, I think it was extra like $50 or something like that.
Yeah,
And
that's worth it.
I was like, I'll pay that for a shade tree, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna be there all day long.
Yeah, massively, massive success.
Did anybody hit a hole in one while you were there?
No, there was one guy, Anthony Kim, got close.
He probably the closest.
Yeah, he was the closest, and
that was one of his first ones back, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which I think he's off Liv now.
Yeah, something. I seen something about that too.
Yeah,
I remember because he was way back toward the back of the pack on the season or whatever.
Yeah, I think he said he was going to take a break from Liv or something like that. And then it was like a celebration of sobriety post or something like that, and he posted that he was going to take a break. Maybe wrong on that.
No, I guess not. He said thank you Miami 10 hours ago at Live Golf League.
Well,
so.
Maybe he changed his mind, or maybe I dreamed that.
He's got an interesting story, don't he?
Yeah.
He was out there and got hurt, and then took that insurance money, and
man was.
I don't know. I don't think he ever had to pay it back. The best I remember.
I don't know.
It's like $10 million or something, which was a lot more back then, but still a lot.
Yeah, I would say that money probably didn't go to anything good.
I would say probably not.
Yeah,
I would say you're right.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, I remember a long time ago, back when he was playing pretty awesome in the PGA, and then he just fell off the map.
He was just gone, wasn't he?
I didn't even. When he popped up on Live in Nashville, I was like, I've seen that guy somewhere. Obviously, he's a professional golfer, but I remember seeing him in the past, and I was like, he does not look the same.
No, totally different dude, wasn't he?
Changed up a lot.
What's crazy is, I mean, of course, he's not competing, not like he's not as good as he was. He's not really competing, but he's still good, even after all that time.
Yeah. It is crazy to see someone like, if I took a 2-week break off of golf, I'd have to relearn my entire swing. But I'm sure he probably didn't play for a year or two when he was going through some of his issues. And dude's still a professional golfer. So
yeah, I talked to this guy. His wife played in college golf, and he said that she can just pick up a club. It don't matter if it's been sitting for 2 years. He said she can just pick it up and just go back to just hitting them just like she was before.
Yeah. I wish I was like that. I can go a couple of days without swinging, and I feel weird.
Oh yeah. If you're off more than a couple of days, or if I am, it's just like a whole different thing when you come back.
Yeah, it's so strange, and
it's really something you've got to keep doing every day.
Yeah, especially when you don't have the God-given ability.
Yeah.
You got to be able to go in there. I had a little back injury that happened probably about 6 months ago or so, and I took about a week off. Man, when I came back, it was like I had to relearn golf all over again, which is a good thing because there were some things I wanted to change in my swing anyway. So I had the opportunity to actually relearn swing, which was nice.
Yeah, I'd done like the same thing. A few months back there, I hurt my shoulder. I done something to my shoulder, and I couldn't play. I didn't play for I probably didn't even hit a ball October through. I might have hit some in February.
Yeah.
When I finally got straightened back out a little bit where I could hit one, and I've played on the course one time this year.
Yeah.
And I played 9 holes, and I hit some really good shots, but it's definitely hard to get back in it like that.
And once again, mind thing, man, especially for me, when I start getting a little bit weird in my swing after being off for 3 or 4 days, I try to tell myself, what was it you were doing the last time you played golf that made it so good? And then what happens is it just all goes straight downhill.
Your brain just throws everything you've ever thought about golf into one.
And you start thinking about your backswing and all this other stuff. It's usually a recipe for trouble.
What's your favorite course around here to play, like actual course?
I mean, kind of a hot take, I guess, but White Plains. I like to play White Plains a lot. For one, it's one of the closer courses out of what we have here. But if I kind of have all day to kind of just lounge around, I'm not really in a hurry for anything, Dale Hollow State Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to go up there. I haven't got to go up there yet, but everybody loves
Yeah.
it. But I like White Plains too. We used to go to White Plains a lot.
Yeah, yeah. White Plains is awesome. I like it because, like, especially at the beginning of the season when you might be working some things out, White Plains is, other than just maybe one or two holes, just wide open.
Yeah, it's pretty open, and it's usually not too crowded.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you don't really ever get backed up there.
yeah. So you haven't played Del Hollow State Park?
I've not played Del Hollow State
Man,
Park.
you're
I want
missing.
to. I ain't played it.
That course is awesome. And if you get, I don't know if they're still on the Golf Now app. Do you have the Golf Now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know last year, and I thought for sure it was some sort of glitch or something, but me and a buddy of mine played Del Hollow State Park. I think it was like $18.
Wow.
18 holes, and it's the nicest course within 2 hours of here.
Yeah, it's kept up top notch, is what they say.
Yep, yep. It was the number one public course in Kentucky from like 2014 to 2019.
You played it for $18.
$18.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was sick.
And you know, that's another thing. Going back to like birdies, like the courses are getting so expensive to go out and play. You get a membership at Birdies and play a lot of golf, or you can go play 2 times at the course.
Yeah, exactly. You know, our memberships are definitely conducive to somebody who, you know, works a day job. You know, like if you work, most people work 9 to 5. You know, by the time you get off here in Jamestown at 5 o'clock, you got a 1 hour drive to a golf course. That's 6 o'clock. You're literally not playing 9 holes before it gets dark until like maybe was it August?
Yeah, you got a small little period there.
So, you know, around here you've got basically a 2 hour drive to any golf course, an hour there and an hour back. And then you're going to spend $50 to play a course around here, which is insane. Yeah. So with Birdies, our memberships, like our all you can play, all everything. And another benefit that people, I think I need to be more loud about is if you're a platinum member, which is unlimited golf for the entire month, your guests are only $5. So if you and Hunter come up to play golf, you just have to be a platinum member, and then he's $5. It don't matter how long you play. So
and then I'll just charge him like 50 or something.
Exactly. You can sublease your membership.
Yeah, I'll sub it out to him and pay for my membership that way.
Exactly. I actually told somebody to do that the other day, and I was like, it's crazy. I'm trying to scam my own business, but no, you could totally do that. And there was a group in the other day, and they're like, man, they had been there like 4 or 5 times in the period of like 2 weeks, and I was like, man, you probably should look at one of the memberships, to be honest, because you'll save money if you're like I said, he had came 4 or 5 times in a matter of 2 weeks. That would have paid for 2 memberships.
And if you're planning on coming that much, you need to go ahead and just get the membership. You can maybe come once to try it, but if you think you're going to stick to it, and just like going to the gym, you know, you probably pay for a day pass at the gym. If you do that 3 times, you could have the whole month.
The membership, yeah. And that's exactly what I told him. And I was like, here's another little hack. If you get the membership and basically sublease it out to your buddies, hey, instead of we're splitting this bill $20 a piece for the 5 of us. You get the membership, $5 a piece. You tell him give you $10. You know what I mean? You got 5 guys there with you. That's $50. That's almost most of the platinum. So the platinum membership. So we've had a few of those guys come in, and also do a deal where if you sign up for like, let's say you and a group, or you and Hunter come back, you guys play for 5 hours. We'll waive that time to sign up for the platinum. So you get free golf for that 5 hours, and then you guys are going to end up making money if you keep coming the amount that you come. If you come 1 hour on a Saturday every weekend of the month, you well over the cost of the membership. And that's just 1 hour. Yeah. Most people golf for 2 or 3 when they come.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys are coming, like you said, you get the platinum, they're probably coming every day and staying a couple hours, and they're really paying for itself then.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my father-in-law, he's up there playing golf probably 4 to 5 hours a week. So the membership just made sense. I actually just signed him up. I was like, dude, you're going to pay for the membership. Like, you don't have an option, man. It makes sense. You're spending way more money than a membership. So I literally was just like, give me your debit card number.
Now, you didn't have the memberships at first, did you?
No, we introduced those probably, it was summer last year when we introduced the memberships going into kind of our golf off season here.
Did you plan on doing that when you started the business, or did you just see a need for it and decide to do it?
Well, that was sort of the part of the business model. It was kind of like level 3 of the business model was to implement memberships and things like that. The biggest problem was just figuring out the way that it made sense to the customer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Obviously, as a business, we got to make a little bit, but I wanted to find a method. I wanted to find a price point that made sense to the customer, to where it would be something that would be good to advertise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, if you have the marketing side of things and the advertisement side of things, and it just don't look very kosher, it's less likely to be, you know, shared around or talked about. So it took me a while to figure out like where the price points are. So we have 4 memberships. We have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, and they all have different benefits. So we finally worked out the monthly membership, you know, pricing and things that come along with it. It took me a while, but we finally got it out there, and I think everybody that has a membership enjoys having the membership.
Do you have a lot of memberships? Is there quite a few people signed up?
Yeah, and one thing about the memberships too is it's cancel anytime. So you're not obligated to any sort of like long-term contracts or anything like that. So one thing I did at the beginning of fall last year was advertise like, hey, come get a membership for the winter. So that way when spring rolls around, you've kept playing golf through the winter. That way when spring tournaments and spring outings come about, you're ready to go, you know. So we had probably 8 to 10 guys that were platinum members from about October to current. And then that ended up canceling like recently. Like, so I guess they're not current. So yeah. October to now.
They took like a winter membership.
They took a winter membership, and you just go online and you can sign up. You can go online and cancel. So
and then when it comes back around, they can just sign right back up and keep on going.
Yep. So I think that was definitely cool to see. We're gonna keep doing the memberships. It's fun for everybody.
So I've got to ask, where did the name come from?
Dude, I'll tell you. We don't know. It just kind of was like we had a list
shooting some around and it just popped into your head.
Yeah,
right?
we had a small list of things, and there was like 5 names. Like Mulligan's was on the list, Bunkers was on the list. Well, guess what? There's a Bunkers like sports bar in Crossville, so we didn't want to use that. And so we had like a small list, and anyways, we were sitting down to establish like our LLC and stuff like that, and we got to looking at the list, and Birdies was the only name that didn't have a negative connotation. Like Bunkers, not good.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in a bunker.
Yeah.
Mulligans, that means you hit a bad shot.
Yeah.
Not good, not that good. So Birdies was like the only one that came about that was like positive golf themed, you know. So man, I'll tell you, there's no story behind Birdies.
I was looking for some elaborate story behind
absolutely not.
Birdies Lounge coming about.
Yeah.
What about the logo? Did you design that, or did you get that designed?
I got it designed, and we got the logo designed right before, right after the LLC process and right before we grand opened. I literally paid some random dude like $30 to make it.
Oh yeah, just on one of them websites where you contract them out.
Dude, literally, there's no story behind the logo either. It's
cool though. I like it. It's a cool logo.
Yeah, I told him whenever he sent it to me, and I'm sure when he saw the description. So on some of those websites, you just give him a description, you know, what you're looking for, and all that stuff. I'm sure when he read my description of I want a blue jay wearing a backwards visor, swinging a golf club, I'm sure he was just like, what in the world is this guy doing? Like, why do you want a bird swinging a golf club with a backwards hat on? So I was pretty specific, but I was happy with the way it came out.
Yeah, no, it came out really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I really like it. What about getting into talking about the lounge side of it? How did doing the concerts come about?
Well, I mean, so when we opened in September of 23, we had an increasing amount of people like, man, you need to get music. You need to get music. And it just really wasn't something I initially was interested in. I was just like, it's not really the vibe, you know, for what we were trying to do. And then started tossing the idea around of getting some music out there. And I got super lucky when I first started looking for like artists to book or like bands in the area. So we got super lucky to have Baker Blankenship be our first ever music act, which...
Oh, he was the first one ever?
First one ever. And I'll tell you, awesome event. Baker's awesome. But it really does stink that that was our first ever music event because we were not refined. Like, there were so many rough edges to that. You know, we ended up having right around 200 people there. Our air conditioning unit ended up not being able to keep up. It was 88 degrees in there when he was singing.
Oh, man.
It was a sweat fest. So... yeah, I mean, after hearing people talk about get music, I was like, okay, well, we'll try it out. We got lucky with Baker. I kind of caught him on the uprise.
Yeah, he's pretty huge now, ain't he?
Yeah, he's on.
I love his stuff.
International tour. He's got a gold record now.
Was he, or is he probably the biggest one you've had there so far? Like,
yeah, so far the biggest, like most well-known guy we've had. We've had some guys, man, that it's just time. I mean, we have a couple that just recently signed labels and things like that. You know, and the way that we do our music and stuff like that is we're just looking for up and comers. Like, we don't really have like a house band, you know what I mean? So we're looking for up and comers, you know, and I'm plucking all of these artists off social media.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you just kind of going on there and you just run across somebody and hit them up on there?
Literally, my For You page is just music, and which I'm cool with because you know the music side, and I didn't expect this, but the music side has been one of the more enjoyable pieces of Birdies, other than the golf. Obviously, I'm a huge golf fan, so that kind of takes the number one spot. But man, organizing the music has been extremely fun. Been very strange. Didn't expect it.
You get to meet a lot of cool people that way.
Yeah. We've, being able to meet some of these artists, and like I said, Baker's on an international tour right now. He's got a gold record. Being able to talk and hang out with him was awesome. You know, me and his manager still chat, just talking back and forth, talking about, Norway and Sweden and Germany and London, and they played in all those places. And
you'll have to help me get him on the pod.
All right, yeah, we might have to cast a line out there.
He's probably too big for that now.
Yeah. Well, someone said the other day, they were like, "Hey, you gonna have have Baker back out at Birdies?" I said, when I booked Baker, he was on the uprise. At that point, he was at 36,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, which is a good number. Maxed Out was right at his hit song that's now a gold record, was right at like 2 million streams, I believe, which also great numbers. I said I booked him then. Baker now is sitting at 2.7 million monthly listeners just on Spotify, and Maxed Out is over 100 million streams. And so just out of curiosity, I was like, I want to go and just see what the internet says about Baker on booking fee. To book Baker right now, it's anywhere from $29,000 to $40,000 to book Baker.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so I was
like, you had him out there for nothing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was.
That's crazy to look back on, ain't it?
I tipped him more than what he was contracted at the end of the night, because I was like, dude, you way undersold yourself. Like you put on an awesome show.
Did you realize then? Did you think, man, this guy's going to be huge? Or
yeah, it was definitely on the forefront of everybody's mind that was there. So like that night that we had Baker, we had guys traveling from northern Indiana, Ohio, Georgia. We had one guy from Mississippi out there. Guys were traveling to Birdies to watch him, and I knew he was good, but I didn't realize he was like travel 8 hours good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so after the show and after I got done talking and hanging out with Baker, I walked back out there, and one of my bartenders was like, "Hey, you need to go meet those guys. They drove here from Indiana." And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And I walk over there, and I was like, I know Baker's good, but like, why'd you travel from Indiana? I'm just curious on your thought process. He looked me dead in the eye, and he said, "This is the last time we're going to get to see Baker for $10." And dude was spot on.
He knew it,
yeah,
didn't he?
The next week, Baker put on his Instagram that he was opening up for Willie Nelson. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's gone. We're never seeing him again.
That's crazy. You got that just the right time.
Right time. And then 2 weeks after that, opened up for Tyler Childers. So
I think that's probably where I was introduced, was like seeing one of your videos from Birdies or something of him singing. I'm like, man, this guy's good. I need to go check him out. And then I was like, yeah, he's great. And then I turned a couple people on to him, and they fell in love with him too. They think, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah. And then like another artist, I'm gonna give a couple artist shout outs here. Another artist that we had out at Birdies, he's currently on tour with Baker. His name's Colton Bolin. I actually found him on TikTok a long time ago, and I was like, man, this dude's solid, but I didn't ever look into him. Liked his video and saved it onto, like, I've got a portfolio on TikTok of just like artists I'm interested in, and I had put him in there, and Baker did an interview with Kygo radio show, and they asked Baker about like, where did like your beginnings come from? Like, how long have you been playing guitar? How long have you been songwriting? Things like that. And he said Colton Bolin taught him a lot about the guitar. I may have said taught him how to play the guitar. I'm not certain on that. So I was like, I recognized that name. So I went back to my TikTok and Colton Bolin. I was like, Baker's from Livingston. So if Colton taught him how to play guitar, he's got to be pretty close. And so I was went back to Colton's profile, and I just commented on one of his videos, dude, we got to get you out to Birdies. And didn't hear anything for like a week, and his manager called me. The manager called Birdies, and then my bartender gave him my personal phone number. And it was his manager, and his manager was like, hey, we were scrolling around on Colton's TikTok and saw that you were interested in booking Colton. I was like, yeah, like, what are your dates are you looking for? And they're like, what about like tomorrow? And I was like, okay, hold on. I was like, in Jamestown, I've got to be able to market something for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like downtown Nashville for, thousands of people.
You could just put a sign up and people's walking down the road out there.
So I was like, well, what about on Saturday, which at the time would have been like 3 days away. So I was like, well, that's still short time. I was like, work with me on the booking fee, and then we'll get him out there. So we negotiated for a little bit, and we came to a number we both agreed on. And I'm not throwing any shade at any artist I've had at Birdies, but that dude, Colton Bolin, is insane. I mean, nuts. His songwriting, nuts. Guitar skills, insane. And the dude, when you talk to him, he just normal dude. I mean, just cool as a cucumber.
So where's he from?
Albany,
Kentucky. From Albany, okay.
Yep, Albany, Kentucky. And so he came to Birdies that first time. We loved him. He was awesome. And at this time, he was on tour with Baker. When Baker went to Europe, Colton stayed in the U.S. And so while Baker was doing his Europe side of the tour, Colton just started going to these little places like mine. And so we had him that Saturday, and his manager called me on Thursday the next week and was like, hey, do you have an empty stage on Saturday? And I'm like, actually, yeah, we do. It was the first time in like a long time that our stage was empty. And he was like, well, Colton wants to come back. So I'm like, okay, cool. Colton comes back, plays another awesome show. And so I told him at that time, I was like, man, it's probably the last time we're going to get to see you. You're going to blow up. Dude is nuts. And then his manager called me back again on Thursday. So we had Colton 3 weekends, like almost 3 weekends in a row. And so it was so strange, but I was like, dude, I'll take you every weekend. He's that good. But yeah,
I'm sure you had a crowd every time.
oh yeah, and the cool part was like it grew to see the crowd from the first night that he came to the third night he came, just like the word of mouth.
Oh yeah, those people are just going
Like,
and telling
dude,
you know,
he was
I saw this
awesome.
guy, he's awesome. You got to come see him, and
Yeah.
it just keeps on going, don't it?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I tell these artists and their managers or their agents or whatever is, I try to get a good deal on the booking fee because I don't want to have to charge a cover. Like, I want the most exposure possible. You know, Birdies may not be able to provide obviously tens of thousands of people, but you know, I want them to have a place that they can come to that I'm not going to charge a cover fee because I want everybody to see their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell all the managers and the agents and stuff like that that, hey, we're a small venue, we're a small town, so you know, some of these guys, they want to sell tickets to make money on their end, and I'm like, this is not really the place to sell
Yeah.
tickets.
Probably not going to work.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just not it.
So you're really just trying to you get them in there, and then people can come in for free, and then you're getting the booking feedback, hopefully off selling drinks,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and you know, that's just the general premise. Like as far as music goes, the music side of things really don't make us any money. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it just adds an element to Birdies of like something to do on a Saturday night. You know,
It's good advertising just
Yeah.
for the business anyway.
And when we first started doing music out at Birdies, a lot of, you know, it was pretty slow. Like we first started doing music, it was, you know, 20, 30 folks out there. It was pretty slow. And I think it came down to the fact that no one had seen the names of some of these people. And so like, I don't know their name. And so I'm just not going to go, you know. But, you know, our music has grown significantly over the last few months. And I think it's just, you know, like once again, the word of mouth thing, like, hey, you might not know their name, but they're going to be solid. You know, they're going to be solid artists.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of goes back to you've been able to get so many good, solid people that now you've got the reputation of, even if they don't know their name, they're going to be at Birdies, and Birdies is putting on some good
music.
yeah, putting on good music and having the good artists. So you've already got that reputation. So
Yeah.
people's going to come there and listen to somebody that they don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's kind of like the beauty of the idea of like the no cover charge and the exposure. And you know, like we've got a guy coming up here soon. His name's Eli Tabor. He's got singles on all of the streaming platforms. You know, people are going to come and hear him, and they're going to be like, I'm going to go stream his music. Like he's good live, and his music on all the streaming platforms, great, great music. I'm also right now, we've had a band come out there called Highway 30, and Highway 30's been out to Birdies probably 3 or 4 times, and I've actually I'm executive producing their album that's coming out. So
wow.
we've been in the studio working with them. And so there should be some solid details come out about that. I would plug that, but I don't know a date or anything. So once that comes out, I think people are going to be surprised at how good they were in the studio. People love them live at Birdies, but man, hearing their stuff in the studio, I was like, this is insane. These guys are awesome.
So where are you recording at? Like, where's the studio?
The studio we've been using is out of Clay County called Steelhouse Studios. I got in contact with him. You know, you were talking about the connections thing. I got in contact with him through Colton Bolin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, you know, me and Colton got to talking one day after a sound check, and I was like, man, your album sounded awesome. Like, where'd you record that at? He said, man, there's a place called Steelhouse Studios out in Clay County. And
You
so
would never think Clay County, would you?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, man, just the raw footage itself, I was like, or the raw, studio sound, before any of the engineering or anything, it was like awesome. And so I was like, man, if we can just not overproduce these songs, like they're solid as all get out. They're good.
But that's coming out sometime this year.
It should come out sometime next month.
Oh, next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've been in the studio. We spent the first time we went to the studio, we got there at 9 a.m. and we left at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was about that time. It was late. It was super late. And then,
You just get in that rhythm, though.
yeah,
don't you?
yeah. And I brought another one of the artists at Birdies out there to do a couple little things. So it was a little bit more extended than normal. We've got our last like cleanup day in the studios on the 18th. So hopefully we'll have maybe even some clips come out on the 18th. So we're hoping that that's the case.
So everybody listening, be looking for that.
Yeah, April 18th may have some music coming from Highway 30. We've got a group chat, and it's called House Band because they've been there so many times. They just call themselves a house band, and I agree. They've been there quite a bit, but man, they're awesome. So they've got a lot of. Once I heard some of their original music, I was like, man, we got to get you in the studio. So Birdies Lounge is sort of like executive producing this. It's not technically a full album; it's an EP.
Are you trying to get people on like booked at Birdies on a regular schedule, or are you just kind of running across somebody you like and hitting them up and just kind of seeing, or is there like do you have a monthly goal of how many shows you want to put on?
Well, when we first started doing music, I was thinking like once a month, just kind of doing that. And then it got to a point where I was like, all right, I really enjoyed that. So we started doing twice a month. And then I was like, man, this is still going so great. We're booked out to August right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're booking for August right now on music every weekend. So
wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get out there and check some of them shows. That's hard when you got 4 kids, but
yeah.
But I'm definitely going to get out there and check some of that out. I know Hunter said he's been and was really impressed.
Yeah.
But booked out to August, man. That's crazy.
It's like I said, I've really enjoyed the music side of things, and it's one of those things I run across somebody I like on some social media, and we get to talking, and then I'll book them out, and then I just fill gaps in between the open weekends.
Are most of those people you're running across on social media, do most of them already have an agent, or are you talking to them directly a lot of the times, or is it kind of just a mix?
Most of the time I'm talking directly to them. There's a few that I've ran across that are already like on the uprise, so they've already signed like a label or they've signed with an agent. So most of the time it's just them. So
we got the Birdies Lounge music label. Is that coming now?
Man, I'll tell you, there are some things that are coming on that, and it's not really going to be that. What I'm going to start doing is we're now affiliated with. Do you know the app Bands in Town?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now affiliated as an official venue on Bands in Town.
Oh, okay.
So we're also an official venue on Spotify. So what we're going to do is we're going to start taking live clips from like the best songs of each of the artists that come in and putting them on a Birdies Lounge like playlist, because we pull straight from the mixer.
Oh, okay.
So we get full audio playback. So.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yep. So we're going to do like a little Birdies Lounge clip thing. So
I seen you just, who was it you just announced? They put you like on their tour. They're kind of going on tour, and they've got you all on there.
Yeah. Their name's Connor McCutcheon and Nathan Wilson.
I seen that on Facebook though.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. They've got this whole tour and they added Jamestown, Tennessee as a stop.
Yeah.
It's definitely growing.
Care if I use the restroom real quick?
Yeah, you're good. Oh. You gotta be like Hunter. You gotta just say bathroom break on here. He takes one every time. Yeah. All right, we're back in again after a little break.
Yeah, man. So Connor McCutcheon, kind of a funny story. So. Same scenario, just scrolling around on social medias, and I ran into him, and, I was kind of like, he might be the vibe we're looking for, not entirely sure. I got to listen to some of his music. I was like, okay, yeah, he definitely fit. And so we got to talking. This was a little bit of a different situation, so he had to take what I was offering to his management team. So I was talking to him, but I guess it had to be cleared through like his agent and his manager and all this other stuff. It was crazy. So we ended up agreeing to terms and got him booked up, and he texted me like a couple of days after I booked him, and he said, do you care if I bring a guy named Nathan Wilson with me? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, man, do whatever you want. And so technically booked Connor and Nathan Wilson, and there at Birdies we have a new advertisement screen. It's basically just a giant projector on one of our walls that shows like upcoming events. And one of the guys that we had booked for music a couple weeks ago, we were doing a sound check, and he was looking up at that board, and he said, "Is that the Nathan Wilson?" And I was like, well, what is that supposed to mean? Like, what do you mean, the Nathan Wilson? He's like, dude, he's a pretty big deal. And I was like, I don't know him that well. I was like, I booked Connor McCutcheon, and Connor's bringing Nathan. And so I was like, I guess I need to do a little research on this guy. And Nathan Wilson has one song that has like right at 20 million streams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What song is it?
It's called...
I guess we'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up there, because it's called something... Yeah, I looked it up, and like today, I was actually played it, and I was like, it's pretty good. I actually put it on my Snapchat story too.
Does it seem right there?
Yeah, it's that first one, Better Than You. Yeah,
Better Than You.
yeah, it's got like 20 million streams. So I was like, all right, well, like I'll give it a listen. And my buddy was like, dude, I've been listening to that song for like ever. And I was like, okay, so I booked Connor. He's bringing Nathan Wilson. Supposedly this guy's something. So we're excited, and that's this weekend. So April 12th. I'm not sure when all this will actually come out, but
Yeah, this come out the day after.
sweet.
Yeah.
The day after Connor, the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if y'all came, y'all have to give me a review on Connor McCutcheon and Nathan Wilson. So,
I guess I could release it early if you wanted to.
you can do whatever you want,
A
man.
little more advertising or
Yeah.
something out there.
So
We might pop it out early. Who
Yeah.
knows?
So we're excited to have him, and they're gonna do something a little bit different from what we normally do. Like if we have more than one singer at Birdies, it's kind of like traditional. Like somebody will open, and then the last guy will like headline. But this time, both of these guys are going to be on stage at the same time doing like a Nashville songwriter style. So they're both going to be on the stage, kind of playing back and forth.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, so it's super cool. Connor just released an EP, and it's pretty good. His songs are very Morgan Wallen-y. So
Okay.
kind of like pop country, I guess. Even though I don't like to use that term, I guess it's more like
Modern country.
yeah, modern country. So we'll see how that goes. I'm super excited for it. I think they're going to do awesome. I like acoustic style music anyways, so they're coming just acoustic, no band.
Yeah, I like that too. That's cool.
Yeah, just acoustic vibe. And I'm telling you, the guy that we just had at Birdies this last Saturday on April 5th, his name's Bryson Howard. Dude, he was unreal. He's got one song, and he's not signed with any label yet, or any agent or manager, any of that stuff yet.
That's why you got to get the Birdies Lounge label.
I
going.
know, right? I gotta lock these guys down. But he's got one original song called "Leaving the Party," and I asked him to sing that song like 3 times. Like in the show, I was like, dude, I hate to be this guy, but can you play that song one more time? So like everybody was pretty much gone from Birdies on Saturday, and they were cleaning up, and I was like, man, I'm gonna ask you one more time. Can you play that song one more time? And the dude played it like his life depended on it. I mean, he just loves to play music, and so I think that guy's going places. He's just and it's always awesome to see an artist make it independent, because when they sign these labels, they're cutting a piece off themselves.
Yeah, and they're giving them a lot of creative control there too.
Exactly. So there's a couple artists that have been to Birdies or that are coming to Birdies that have either already signed a label or that are in talks with a label. And if there's a way that I can mitigate that, I would love to. Like a lot of these labels, what they're doing is they're signing these artists, especially like up and coming artists. The label that does it the most is called Santa Ana. They're signing these up and coming artists, and they are giving them free studio time. So, which is very expensive. Studio time's pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. So these up and coming artists, most of them are like 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. They probably don't have a lot of money, and so
they kind of have to take it.
Yeah, to get free studio time, to get their music out there, they kind of have to, and they're sort of locked in. Mm-hmm. So
but it's not really a good deal for them in the long run.
No, and I don't know the exact numbers, but rumor on the street is that a lot of these even bigger labels for new artists take 50%.
50%.
50, man. And
Wow,
so
I would have never thought it'd be that high. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was initially thinking like 15, 20%.
Yeah, I was going. Yeah, I was going to say like 25 or 30. I would think that was kind of high.
Yeah. But no, like some of these labels on some of these up and coming artists, they'll sign them at 50%, man. And I mean, if you're an artist, your stuff really has to blow up to see a decent income from, especially the streaming platforms, when your label's taking 50%.
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of seems to me the way you paint the picture there is it kind of like the big labels. They're just kind of, it's like they're fishing with a net. They're just throwing a big net out there. They're catching as many as they can, hoping one of them goes big. And they don't really care.
Yep.
They don't really care if you go big or not because they're expecting one of you to.
Yep.
So they might as well get all of you. Just give them the best odds.
Yeah, it's definitely like a venture capitalist type idea where they, like you said, they cast a giant net hoping that one of them blows up. And I mean, for instance, Baker's signed to Santa Ana. Santa Ana is basically just part of an umbrella company that's owned by OVO. Drake's label.
Oh, okay.
So Drake's label OVO owns Santa Ana, and Santa Ana is kind of like the venture capitalist of the label. So, for instance, Baker's signed to Santa Ana. Eli Tabor, who we have coming back to Birdies, it's on the, I think it's the last weekend or second to last weekend this month in April. He signed to Santa Ana. I guess the biggest artist that I know of that signed to Santa Ana is Gucci Mane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. You got these like up and coming
That's
country
crazy.
music stars, and Gucci Mane signed to Santa Ana. So
that's wild.
Yeah, so all these guys are getting kind of like snatched up by like a label. And there's got to be a reason that a lot of these up and coming country artists are going to Santa Ana. So maybe they do have like better than 50%, surely to God. Because like that is a massive chunk.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. And that's not even like you said, they're getting stripped of their creativity. Someone else is writing their music when they sign with these labels most of the time.
And I don't know about you, and I know a lot of people don't care, but I just like people who write their own songs.
Absolutely.
There's just something about a guy who writes his own song, or a girl who writes their own songs that just make you can hear the authenticity in the music.
Dude, I'm telling you, Colton Boland's your guy.
I have to check him out.
You have to check him out, dude. I'm telling you, that dude is probably one of the best songwriters out of anybody that I've heard in a very long time. And yeah, I mean, if you like country music, you like original music, his album Songs from a Holler, that album, start to finish, killer. I mean, My Home Now, Josie Wells, those are two just heavy hitters on that album. They're solid. They're very solid. And the last time I talked to him in person, he was like, do you like the album? And I was like, dude, I love the album. He's like, you're going to be shocked to find out that my next album is like my pride and joy. Like, my next album's way better. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to like fluff you up or nothing, but your album you have out now is solid.
Going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. It definitely sounds like somebody I would like.
Yeah. He did a cover of Jamie Johnson in Color.
Yeah.
Killed it. He does an impersonation of Willie Nelson.
Oh, really?
Kills it, dude. I mean, if you close your eyes, you'd think it's him.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's talented then.
Yeah, dude's nuts. But yeah, so like, with Birdies, like I want to, sort of advocate for these up and coming artists to not sign with these major labels. And if I can do that just primarily on like advertising like their original music and things like that, like with Highway 30, I put them in the studio, and I hope that sends a message to them and other artists like there's ways around signing 50% of your life off.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. Highway 30's EP is going to be 3 songs. And their style is exactly what I look for at Birdies. And so to see them evolve from the first time they came to Birdies to where they're at now has been just so rewarding in its own, to see how they've grown. And then when I heard them in the studio, a lot of like sound engineers and producers, they're worried about these bands getting in the studio, because once they get in the studio, they have a tempo tick in their headphones, and of like guitarists that do like just live shows, and a lot of like drummers that just do live shows. When they get this tick in their head, it'll mess with their timing. And I don't. This is coming from other producers and sound engineers out of Nashville, because they were asking me like, how solid is the electric guitarist for Highway 30? I was like, he's solid. Like, and they're like, how solid is the drummer for Highway 30? I was like, he's solid. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, well, what do you mean? So he was like, has either of those guys ever been in a studio before? I was like, I don't know. Then he explained to me that the tempo thing threw him off. It threw a lot of people off. So we got in the studio, and like I was a little bit nervous because I didn't want these guys to like, kind of spaz out. Dude, I think they could have ripped off an entire album in one cut. I think they literally could have one cut an entire album.
Wow. So they were just naturals.
Just naturals. And I'm still not sure if that was the first time they'd been in the studio. I was so like, kind of like dumbfounded.
Mesmerized
yeah,
by
I was
them.
just like, I didn't even care if they'd ever been in the studio anymore. But they had been in the studio that day, and I enjoyed that side. Like we talked about, like, enjoying the music side of Birdies. Taking it to the next level has been awesome too. Like taking it to the studio. Getting ready to cut 3 tracks as a small EP to put on the streaming platform, and to have Birdies or Byron Matthews listed as the executive producer on the EP. Like, I love that.
So they're independent then?
Yeah, they're not signed.
Yeah. Did they not sign kind of for that reason, to keep their creative control and stuff? Or
I think so. I think that's probably why they haven't signed with anybody yet. I guess everybody has a story on why they sign, with whatever group, but yeah, they haven't signed. And I found them off of TikTok, honestly.
Is that what the labels are doing too? Or they,
Yeah.
you think they're just
sharking.
They've just got a ton of people out there looking on social media?
Literally, they're label scouts. And that's all they do, is they scan social media to do exactly what I'm doing for Birdies, except for a label.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing. So it's definitely a wild, very shark-infested world out there on the social medias for music
That makes
groups.
it hard for the artist, really, because you probably don't know who to trust, and you, like you said before, a lot of them, if you ain't got a lot of money, you're wanting to go with something, they offer you that studio time. Even though you probably know in your heart it's a bad deal, it's like, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, right now I'm making $0 making music. They're thinking, oh, if they can put my stuff on all the platforms and get me free studio time and all this stuff, maybe even get me to open up a small festival or something, at least I'm getting 50% of whatever that makes. I mean, that's what probably. Yeah. I mean, I would assume that's probably what.
I'm not an artist. I can't speak for that, but that's just kind of what I would think about it. And what I hate about that for the artist is, like we said before, the studios or the labels, they're just wanting to make money. That's all they care about. Yeah. They don't really. I would say, I'm sure there's some out there that do, but I'd say a lot of them don't even really care about the artist.
Yeah,
and they don't care to strip the creativity away, because they do these studies and they say, oh, this is the kind of music that's selling. Then if that guy's got 50 people under him, bands and artists and whatever, he's going to want them all playing that so he can increase his chance of one of them going big.
Yep.
And it ruins, you might get that one go big, but you might ruin 49 careers. Yeah. And that's just kind of scummy, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And, from when Baker first put out Maxed Out, it was doing solid numbers right from the jump. And I'm not entirely sure that he wasn't signed with Santa Ana beforehand. But I know when Baker released the last song, 300 Miles, and then he also did a song with Waylon White, they started kind of going up in the level on like festival, like when you see a festival poster, it's got the little tiny names at the bottom and then the names get bigger. Most festivals, obviously do that on popularity. But I started noticing after Birdies and after he opened for Willie and after he opened for Tyler Childers, that Baker's name started kind of going up on these festival lists. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, I don't know if that's Baker, just his popularity, or if that's his label reaching out like, hey, our guy's better than the bottom of the list. Like, put him up, you know? So I would say, like, out of the good thing that I see coming from a label is the festival top exposure. But like you said, I'm not an artist, so I'm just seeing it from talking to these artists that I have at Birdies and connecting with these guys and stuff like that. So, you know, I think there are some really good labels out there. Or why else would almost every single artist have a label?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a benefit to having that exposure, just for the marketing of it, to going behind somebody with the money, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely going to be something to that, but you got to take the good with the bad, I guess, kind of with it.
Yeah. You know, and with the whole label thing, you know, they have the capital immediately to invest in certain people, you know? So, you know, I'm wondering, like, with these artists and stuff like that, I'm sure there's some person out there that would be willing to invest in them like a label would.
Yeah.
You know, especially around Nashville, you've got a lot of, like, retired musicians and things like that.
Just kind of like buying stock in them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's some form or fashion out there that there's somebody, and I'm kind of talking about this right now. I actually had a phone call before I came in of somebody that wants to invest in an artist that I had at Birdies, and I have them coming back. They want to invest. They were in the music world in Nashville for like 30 years, retired musician. Dude's just loaded and wants to invest. And so, like, I don't know why there's not more of that out there. Instead of just chasing a label, let's find somebody that's wanting to invest in you. You know,
I think that kind of probably goes back to, like we were talking about, the label has so many people out there working, you know, like you said, there's so many sharks out there that they're just getting to them before anybody else gets to them, and or anybody else has an idea about them. Because, I mean, I guess if you're looking to invest in an artist, you at least want to see a little something, you know, from them before you. It's like you know, the Shark Tank. They're not going to invest in a business that ain't doing a little something. Don't show some promise. Yeah, and I guess the labels have more ability to take that risk.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I put myself in the investor's shoes, I definitely want to be on the same wavelength as that artist, you know, to understand where their trajectory might be headed. You know, like, I'm not going to go invest in NASCAR because I do not watch NASCAR. Yeah. So
you're not going to invest in an artist if you don't like their music.
Exactly. So, and a lot of, like, with social media and stuff like that, a lot of these artists, I think, with a little bit of financial backing, wouldn't need a label, because some of these videos that go so viral and stuff, these festivals and the people that organize these festivals see these videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I was just thinking that a minute ago. That's why today's time is the best time, I think, for an artist to be independent, because of social media.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like we said before, I think the only aspect from what I've talked with, you know, some artists is just that, you know, having the connections to connect with a festival or connect with a major venue. That's like a huge, I guess, appealing side to a label. Yeah. But we're excited to have some of these artists, you know, come into Birdies, and most of them, well, I'd say 50% of them are signed to a label already. Most of them are Santana.
Which you don't have to, like, get into detail on the numbers or nothing, but have you noticed that most of the ones you are getting are charging around the same, or is it pretty varied? You know, I would just think, because they're all kind of, like you said, up and comers. I didn't know if there was a pretty big gap in that, or if most of them kind of around the similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's all mostly similar. The only thing that you really see in a major change as far as, like, price differences go is, like, their popularity already. So, like, whenever I booked Baker the first time, he had, like, or when I booked Baker. He had, I think, 75,000 followers on TikTok. And his videos were really starting to pop off. Well, I booked him in May for July 13th. And in the middle of that is when he released his EP that exploded. So I guess that was sort of an investment. I got him cheap because it was way out before he released his EP. And Maxed Out was out as a single. So obviously I got him really cheap, but I mean, if I would have got him after he opened for Willie Nelson, he probably would have been triple.
Oh, yeah.
After he opened up for Tyler Childers, probably would have been triple of that.
It's like we said earlier, you hit him at just the exact right time. How many followers does he have now? Do you know?
I think last time I looked, it was like right around like 500,000.
I know I follow him. Let's see what he's got here. Right there he is. He's got this is on Instagram. Instagram, he's got 181,000.
Check TikTok and see what he's got on TikTok there.
TikTok, I feel like, is where everybody blows up at, ain't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Their algorithm is just so different. It's not just different; it's better.
I was gonna say, I think it's better. I was talking with somebody about that the other day. You see these any kind of video or anything you put on TikTok gets more views and stuff, and I just feel like they have a better algorithm to push it out there to the people who actually want to watch it.
For sure. I agree with that 100%.
Let's see, there he is.
He's got like 5 spam accounts on there. So.
Yeah, here's his legit one. He's just under 800,000.
Just under 800,000.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, that's insane.
11.2 million likes on there.
Yeah. Whenever I booked him, I took a screenshot of it. And he was at 76,000, right at 76,000, I believe. I got a screenshot of it on my phone because I was like, I just know this dude's gonna.
So he's picked up over 700,000 since then.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
And honestly, I believe Colton will do the same thing. I mean, I mean, as far as the talent.
Yeah, I was gonna say you see that kind of same type of talent in him
for sure. Honestly, hot take probably for some. I think he's probably 10 times better than Baker.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yep. I think he's way better than Baker.
Was he signed to anybody already, or
no?
Or is he trying to stay independent like that?
Yeah, I believe so. I hope he does. I hope that he can keep booking these. He's booking festivals right now. He told me the last time he was at Birdies, he said that there's going to be some stuff come out here soon, and from what he's posted was just the smallest bit of what he told me. But if what he was saying does happen, yeah, he won't be at Birdies again. He will not be at Birdies again. So I guess we're glad to have him when we had him. So hopefully he feels bad that we're still small and he blows up and he comes back and just plays a little charity gig.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. It'd be cool. You see like these people in Nashville going back to the little cafes and stuff they used to play. It'd be cool to see some people like that come back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would say like that's probably like one of like my biggest hopes is to get somebody on the rise and then have them say like, hey, I want to come back. I'm back in the area or whatever. I'd like to come play out there for a minute. I think that's one of my biggest hopes is that does happen. And I think we've had some guys that, have the opportunity. I think, obviously Baker, and then I think Colton's going to do the same thing Baker has been doing. But I think there's a couple that we've had and are going to have that have the same capability of getting as big as Baker has gotten. And hopefully some of those guys will decide to come back.
That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, super hopeful.
You'd have a big wall with all the autographs up there.
Yeah, we have one. Like everybody that's been there, Baker, Colton, Bryson Howard. We had some comedians a while back, which was very different for what we normally do.
I think I seen that. I think I was wanting to go to that too, and I was out of town or something that weekend. Yeah, I love watching the comedians and stuff like that.
See, I wasn't really big into comedy until I took a vacation a couple years ago to Vegas, and we just lost our rear end in the casino for too long. And so we're like, let's go find something outside the casino to do. And we ended up finding the Laugh Factory, which you'll see it sometimes like on TikTok. I think they've got
I think I've seen that before.
It's got like the little rainbow thing behind us, says Laugh Factory. But we went there, man, and I was like, dude, this is actually really fun. This first comedian I'd seen live. And after the Laugh Factory, we had such a good time. For my birthday, my wife had gotten me tickets to see Shane Gillis at the Ryman. And Theo surprise showed up.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
I bet that was awesome.
Dude, I thought the Ryman was going to explode. So the guy before Shane, one of the openers, was like, we got a little special surprise. And everybody in the entire facility was like, oh my God, it's Theo. You know, like, it's Theo, oh my God. And then I was like, there's no way. And then he's like, Theo Vaughn. And I literally thought, have you ever been in the Ryman before?
Yeah.
So you know the overhang?
Yeah.
Like right there? It sounded like it was going to fall on top of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When he came out,
the place got to rocking.
I was scared that we were about to be on the news. And so Theo came out, awesome. I was like, man, like I actually really enjoyed this. So I had an opportunity with a guy that actually lives here in Jamestown that was part of a comedy circuit all over the place. And we kind of just had a handshake deal. He was like, man, you let me use this venue. I'll bring comedians. You know, he's a comedian as well. And I was like, yeah, man, let's see about this. You know, like this is a weird angle for Jamestown. You know, like there's never been a comedy show in Jamestown before. So I was like, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. And so I was like, we'll work out a deal to where it's smart for all of us. And he started sending me like clips of certain comedians and stuff. And I was like, these guys are actually really solid. And so we booked them, got them there. And we sold out. And that was in the middle of a tornado warning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that day it was storming like all crazy here in Jamestown. And
so all of them pretty funny?
Yeah, they were all good. Brandon Jarrell was was the opener, and which he lives in Nashville, and dude was hilarious. I mean, had me cackling, and I don't know. I definitely was skeptical. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, man, like, I hope this goes good.
Didn't know how the crowd would take it and stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I feel like at something like that, you've got one shot. You know? You've got one shot, and if it flops, it's done.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it's successful, it's not guaranteed the next time. You know, like, we're going to do another comedy show at the end of July. I've not announced it yet. So I guess this is the first announcement of that. July 19th, we'll be having another comedy show. And the guy that is going to be headlining that has been in comedy for like 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So
he's a pro then.
Yeah, he's a pro. So we're hoping that it goes the same as the first one. And you know, and sell out just like it did. And so we're super excited about that. I'll probably make an announcement on that here in the short little bit. We're working out some more details on for an opener. So yeah, I'm just praying that it goes the same as the first one went. Hopefully the first one wasn't, you know, beginner's luck. So
yeah, you need to have a open mic night out there.
I know.
There's a lot of people in Jamestown think they're comedians.
Hilarious. Yeah, they think they're funny. I feel like that'll end up.
You get on the Jamestown Chit and Chat on Facebook or whatever. that's where you'll find all the comedians at. Ain't it?
They're all real funny. I probably should just advertise it on there. All you guys that think you're funny, just come on out to Birdies.
Yeah, let's see what you really got.
Yeah. The keyboard warriors.
I just got a funny feeling none of them would show up.
Yeah, I think they're out. I think they'll be out. But yeah, there was an open mic night in Crossville that happened not long ago that ended up with the police showing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and the guy that owns the bar, I know some of his family, and I've talked with him a little bit, and he was like, yeah, we're never doing another open mic again. And I was like, it sounds like I completely understand that. But he was like, what happened was everybody ended up just late at night, been there too long. You know, they thought it'd be funny to get up there and just start roasting people that's inside the bar at the time.
Oh.
Those people also probably not in any shape to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you get to ruffling some feathers, and some people think it's a joke, and then some people take it serious. He's like, we ended up having the cops there.
Yeah, I could definitely see where that would go bad.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where you got to get up there and cut it off right there.
Yeah, hey guys, we're done. We're done. We're done with this.
So, I mean, we've kind of touched on it a little bit there, but just what all future plans do you have for Birdies?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about like the food. The food's definitely like our main priority right now.
And you said that's going to look like just, classic American food, burgers, wings, sports bar food.
Yeah, a lot of people like to categorize it as pub food. Okay. So we're going to specialize in actual wings and burgers. So that's going to be like our kind of like calling is going to be wings and burgers. We're going to have real solid wing, fried wing. We're going to have a couple different options for burgers. Right now we're thinking about doing it'll just be like a burger option and you get to build it yourself. So whatever you want on it, you just build it. Okay. So there's a lot of times I go to a restaurant, I'm like, oh, I don't really want that, but I like everything else on it, So and then I feel weird, like take this off of it.
Yeah.
So right now we're looking at, all the burgers, just kind of build your own, even from like patty size to cheeses and all that stuff. But other than that, it's going to be a lot of appetizers. Once we get opened and get running on the food, the menu is going to expand. So the day one menu is going to be appetizers, wings, and there'll be a lot of different like flavors, sauces, and things, and burgers, and probably one or two other small things. And then hopefully the 3-month idea is to expand that menu to the full menu in the first 3 months. As far as like other things we've got coming up, we're still trucking with the music stuff. I don't have everyone booked on our website yet, so like a lot of the stuff I have booked is not even out there yet, and we're booked out there pretty far. So we're gonna keep doing the music thing. We're probably gonna do another golf league coming up soon. But I'm working on a few things right now that I'm waiting on word back from some political officials to get clearance to do it. And we're hoping that we can pull this off, and I may have to hop back on the pod one day and announce that for sure.
We'll talk about this off the pod.
Yeah, right. We'll have to talk about this here once we cut it. But yeah, so we've got some really interesting things coming up, and there's things that are evolving every day. Like the music kind of hit me in the face. There's a lot of things that are coming down the line that I didn't foresee Birdies offering or having or hosting, that are going to happen soon. And I'm excited to get to share it with everybody. And we're just going to keep doing the thing, man. I think the biggest thing is, for us at Birdies is, we're trying to listen to everybody. Food was one of those things where we knew it was on the table. We just didn't know the timeline of how quick we wanted to get food out there. Like I said, this kitchen was, a huge investment, as far as the business goes, and nothing's worse than investing a bunch of money and getting nothing back in return. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So we, after hearing everybody and hearing the customers and understanding what they want in Jamestown and what they want at Birdies and what they want just in the general vicinity of where they live, I think we're on track to kind of keep up and keep changing. If you were in Birdies the first day we opened and you walk in Birdies right now, it's so different. Like we literally make changes every week to something. And it's not really just because we just feel like it. Most of the stuff we've changed has come from customer feedback, and that's what we live on, is customer feedback. Because that Birdies is not about me. Like if Birdies was my way, the doors would be locked, and it'd be my personal place.
Yeah,
it'd be I just lived there.
Yeah.
But between customer feedback and just what feels right, we're a sports bar, but I don't truly feel like we're a sports bar without the food. You know what I mean? You gotta have food, man. Like that's one thing I've kind of beat myself up over for the last little bit, because it just don't feel right without it. But it was the smartest move, in my opinion, to make sure that the hardest part would run on its own before I added food. Because even though food's not a massive, there's not a whole lot of money in food, it's one of those things. It's like you just have to have it in a facility like that. You have to have it at a sports bar. Even when you go to like an upper scale golf course, they have a restaurant in there.
For sure.
They have food in there. Cart person, usually has hot dogs or something, just something to snack on. So I feel like, even though like Birdies will never be finished, I feel like a massive step in feeling like I've like something's been done is adding the food. I think that's a massive key.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's for sure gonna it'll drive a lot more business your way. People who are not interested in any golf or the lounge or whatever, you'll have people coming in there just to eat.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for, especially with the partnership with DoorDash and with our online ordering platform, being able to, like, I used to work in town here, and I had 30-minute lunches, and I was like, I literally can only go to like McDonald's, maybe Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
And so being able to order your phone before you clock out for lunch, and then be able to walk in with your food ready, just ready for pickup. You can sit down and eat it there, just take it on out. I think that's going to be a huge advantage.
And not fast food either.
And not
actual good food.
Yep. I think that's going to help. Even just people in Jamestown to have another option that's fast, that's not fast food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for sure there. Well, you got anything else you want to touch on? Anything else you like to say?
No, man. I love the podcast. I love that you're doing this. Honestly.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool to see something like this happening, because I think it's super cool. I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I just I don't know. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I feel like there's a lot of interesting people out there, and business owners and things like that. Not everybody's famous enough to go on Joe Rogan.
Sure, yeah.
And, there's just not really anybody that I know around here that's kind of got that platform for people locally to come on and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. I think it's an awesome concept. I think that it's for one, I had a good time. I had fun doing this, dude.
It's fun. Like we talked about, you just sit here and time gets away, and we've been going 2 hours and 16 minutes now. So it just time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, for sure.
You can go ahead and drop all the Birdie socials and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. All of those are at Birdies Lounge. Instagram is birdies.lounge. And our phone number is 931-879-GOLF.
Well, there you go, folks. If you're looking for something to do and you're anywhere close to Jamestown, it doesn't matter if you're 2 hours away. Birdies Lounge is going to be worth the drive, I promise. Especially, even if you just come up for a concert, they're going to have something for you at Birdies Lounge. So go check them out, and we thank you for coming on. And
thank you, man. I appreciate that. It was awesome to be on. I hope to come back one day.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like we'll definitely want to have you back for all you got working on behind the scenes.
For sure.
So, Byron Matthews, everybody, and check out Birdies Lounge for some golf, grub, and good times.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Subscribe to the podcast.
There you go.
Have a good night.
See you.